Venture out yet. When I get desperate.
Venture out yet? What do you mean venture out yet?
Well, like.
Are you just at home?
No, I just mean like I don't want to, I don't know, get acquainted with strangers to play sports yet. I'd rather just like put my AirPods in at the gym, get shots up.
You understand how much like energy and effort you have to give. Like you're only getting older.
Correct. Yes. I understand that part. Anyway, and tell me about
we lost both our games, but we were missing a lot of our players.
Okay.
And we hadn't practiced a lick in 2 years.
Okay.
And we actually had a pretty good shot to win the first game. We'll be just fine once we all come back.
Okay.
Took a shot off the knee.
Yeah.
I almost was not able to provide kids. I took a ball, literally third base right there, and I had to it was bad.
Wait, so the ball's not soft?
I caught it. No, it's not. It's a hard softball.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Never had that explained to me before. Oh,
yep, you're welcome. You got it? You got it? You ready to go?
I think so, yeah.
You ready to go? Okay.
Thanks for the update.
Yeah, of course.
How's
all
your
right.
fantasy team doing?
Did not do well, of course. All right, welcome back to the locker room, episode number 42. This guy's back. I was telling everybody that I think you were working on, you were doing some hair stuff.
I was doing some hair stuff.
In order to get that hair ready for you waited too long last week to do it, so you couldn't make it.
I had a hair appointment. Sorry.
A 2-day hair appointment. It was a 48-hour kind of thing.
It was for MC Whippy. I'm really just
there
trying
you go.
to
Yeah, we'll have to see if he shows up here for sure. But we are back here, episode number 42 of the locker room, presented by Spokane Talks. You're here in the studio every Thursday at 10-ish a.m.
No, who else we're presented by?
Yes, in a second. Episode 42.
Oh, okay.
There's
Chris
a couple
Marios.
options. Yes, but
actually?
yeah.
Okay.
But currently it's the Lano Hill episode.
Ew. Dude,
Yeah.
he sucks.
And
He's so bad.
Chris Richard was 42 in his couple years in Seattle, which is really interesting. And the running back Chris Warren, probably the best player to wear number 42 for the Seattle Seahawks.
Fair.
90s. I think it was like 92 to 97 or something. He actually was a decent little running back. Okay. Yeah, I would absolutely love to know who else we are presented by.
Yeah, we're not going to consider skipping out on them or forgetting them because we're going to tell you right now that this show, as always, is sponsored by Lucky Bird, a Spokane-based e-commerce and digital marketing company dedicated to helping local companies scale in the online world of e-commerce and digital marketing. We want you guys to go and visit luckybirdbrands.com to have a down-to-earth, no-pressure conversation about your digital marketing and e-commerce strategies today.
How'd it
go?
Good. I don't want to say mine was better.
I just don't feel rusty.
No, that's fair.
I was not shedding any rust there.
No,
in stride.
You did what you had to do, and that's all we can ask for.
Mm-hmm.
Can't ask for much more.
Nope.
So I made a mistake last week. I forgot the Masters. I was reminded about it by a few buddies saying, "Hey, what about the Masters? You spent so much time watching the Masters, so you can talk about it." And then I forgot to talk about it. Did you watch any of the Masters?
Yeah, I watched a decent amount, and it was largely. It was less than compelling. I don't know. Obviously, I don't even remember what happened. Okay, so
that's fair. I mean, it's been almost 2 weeks.
It's been a couple weeks. Yeah,
right.
Here's your Masters update.
Yeah, here's your Masters update from yours truly.
Zalatoris or Zalatoris. I like that guy.
Well, yeah, he's 24, 25. Like he's impressively young.
And he's a chopstick. Like he's got no frame.
Mm-mm.
The fact that he can even like put a shirt
doesn't
on his
look
shoulders
like an athlete.
No, he doesn't at all,
Right.
which is awesome.
Right.
I mean, and then all of the Happy Gilmore references of the caddy were
his caddy
coming out. Yeah,
that was
I guess
good.
He's been getting that pretty much like since high school.
And I can see it. It makes sense. And even Adam Sandler hopped on board.
Yeah,
and
he did.
Kind of gave him a little bit of a shout out, which was pretty cool.
But yeah, tell me what happened in the Masters.
Well, like I said, I watched the entire thing Thursday to Sunday. Thursday, well, it started off actually. It was really interesting because everything was running on guys. There wasn't much drag on these balls, and things were just not going well for a lot of players. And then Friday came around. Friday wasn't that interesting. Saturday came around, and that's when things really started to kind of separate. Once they got to the weekend there.
Is moving day Friday or Saturday?
Is what?
Moving day?
I guess I don't know what that is.
Like the term, like in a 4-day.
I don't know actually.
Really?
No, I've never
I think it's
heard
Saturday. Saturday is moving day.
Well,
no.
the cutoff is Friday.
No,
to
I
Saturday,
understand, but what they
I don't
refer
know.
to as moving day, it's either Friday or Saturday. It's like when people move or something like that. Not that that's suggested by.
I'm not sure what you were saying anymore.
Okay, just look it up.
I'll have to because
it's a term, I promise.
I think you're making stuff up, but that's fine.
Anyway.
Well, Dustin Johnson, who won the Masters in the fall when they had a kind of an interesting tournament set up because of COVID, he went 20 under at Augusta National. He didn't even make the cut.
Nobody did.
A lot of people
Nobody
didn't
that
make the
mattered
cut. And
did.
well,
Brooks out there
Justin
on, like,
Rose
one knee.
did, and Patrick Reed.
Justin Rose, that was the guy. That's
And
who I was
Justin
going to
Thomas.
mention. Like blew the lead because he came out of the gates like
Hot,
firing, and
hot.
he was like
Yep.
7
He
under
had
for the first couple days.
He had the lead over I think the first 2 days, and then that's when Hideki Matsuyama kind of took control on Saturday.
On moving
and then,
day.
I guess so. Whatever helps you sleep at night, we will go with it. Hideki Matsuyama ended up kind of taking control over Saturday and Sunday, and he ended up winning the Masters by 1 stroke. It should have been a much stronger win. He had some issues down the stretch, actually.
You want to make that putt. You want to make that putt.
Right.
Even though
I
it
know,
was
yeah.
ensured that
You
the
had 2
second
chances.
being a tap-in,
Right.
you want to make that putt. But he got the job done.
He got the job done. That's all that matters. So, yeah, he beat Will Zalatoris by 1 stroke. Interesting stuff about Zalatoris. He's only been a pro since 2018. He's only won once in July of 2020. And then he took second in the Masters April of 2021. So
second time ever playing the course.
Right.
He'd only played
really
it once
impressive.
before.
Really impressive. And I'm not a huge golf guy, but I know that course is tough. And so good on him. Good on Will. He's kind of becoming a really big fan favorite.
Were you a fan of Matsuyama's caddy taking a bow to the course?
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
I thought that was pretty cool too.
That was cool. You know, it's a very Japanese tradition of being respectful, and so I did like it. Jordan Spieth finished in 3rd.
That one I was surprised by because I told you DJ wasn't going to win. That didn't happen. He didn't even make the cut.
Yeah,
And
your
I
guy
also,
took 5th. Rom?
Yeah.
Yep, that
Yeah.
wasn't bad.
He's always in the mix. Top 5 at majors. Always top 5.
Always top 5. Yeah, Justin Rose took 7th. Patrick Reed took 8th. Finau took 10th.
You know people hate Patrick Reed, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay.
do. Yeah, he's kind of a douche from what I've heard. But he has a
Yeah.
sweet last name. And then Justin Rose and Justin Thomas have nice first names.
Interesting.
I was really hoping for a Justin Rose win only because of his name, not because of the fact that he's English. That part I hate. Big American guy. Unless it's Hideki Matsuyama. That was cool.
Right.
If someone else outside of America had to win, I'm glad it was him.
Me too.
That's my 2 cents. All right. You know who else I'm always happy to win?
Who's up?
The Bulldogs. They've been addicted to winning, actually, one might say.
Right, yeah. Bailey
And
with,
they won again.
Ruda.
I'm going to see really quick. I forgot to get a photo of this guy because it should be needed for the segment. So I'm going to quickly do that.
Yeah, he looks like he should go to like Wisconsin or somebody. He looks like a Midwestern guy. Shocker.
Yeah, exactly right. So GU did secure the verbal commitment from Chet Holmgren, the #1 overall recruit out of Minnehaha Academy and in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's a lot of M's there.
Have you tried the beer?
That is a lot. I have not tried Iron Goat's Minnehaha beer yet, but I probably should. And he's a stud. He's considered to be like one of the top high school basketball prospects in a long time, specifically because he can do it all. He's 7 foot, has like a 7. He's 7'1", has like a 7'5" wingspan. He's probably the best shot blocker they've ever seen come out of high school.
Like north of 4 blocks a game in high school.
Right.
And again, it's high school, but like.
That's a lot of blocks. If that's what you're averaging, right? He, like I said, he's the #1 recruit. He averaged just under 21 points a game. This is his senior year stats: over 12 rebounds, almost 5 blocks, and 4.5 assists while shooting 80% from the field. Like that's an absolutely bonkers stat line. Yeah. He was named the Naismith Prep Player of the Year. Other award winners for that: Cade Cunningham, Isaiah Stewart, R.J. Barrett, Michael Porter Jr., Lonzo Ball, Ben Simmons, some of the more recent ones. After that recruit, or actually that verbal commit, I should say, he joins #6 Hunter Salas, #53 Caden Perry, and possibly #72 Fanbo Zhang out of an Asian country. I don't want to speculate because I don't remember. Okay. But he's currently in the class of 2022 looking to reclassify into 2021. Here's Chet Holmgren here. What's really crazy about him, he is, like I said, 7'1", and he weighs 195.
He's basically collegiate Poku.
Yeah.
You know who Poku is?
It's actually kind of crazy when you think about it. And you look at him, But he's been able to battle. He's going to go to GU, which has one of the top strength and conditioning programs for their men's basketball program under Travis Knight at GU. But he's probably one of the more hyped recruits ever to come out of college basketball. A lot of comparisons to Porzingis, notably so. Some also kind of looking at Kevin Durant, not quite the athleticism, the kind of springiness, but the shooting, the fact he can shoot it all over the court.
Do you think they're going to play him at center like KD
I don't
did
think
his
so.
1 year at Texas?
I think Timmy's still going to occupy the low block, and I think Chet is going to be a stretch roaming 3-4 kind of guy.
Yep.
Because of the fact that he can shoot, he literally does it all. I think on defense,
it would almost be kind of silly if they were to play him at center because that would be doing everything except tailoring to what he provides. Yeah.
Right. If you just play him down low, there's a lot of things that he's not allowed to do when he is down low.
Right.
So I'd like to see him probably, depending on the matchup though, I could see him playing a lot of defense at kind of the center or a back to the basket 4 kind of guy, because he needs to be in the paint. He needs to be that rim protector that we haven't had since Brandon Clark a couple seasons ago. So that commitment there is really nice. He's definitely going to have to eat more Apple Jacks to put some meat on his frame. That will be very important for him. Other than that, though, I mean, he honestly can do it all. He can stretch the floor, shoot from 3. Like I said, he's shooting 80% from the field. He can block shots. He can pass. He's kind of like he's a more talented Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk came to GU as a guard, grew and became kind of a post guy, and so that meant he can dribble off.
Yep.
He could take guys one-on-one, but Chet can do that.
Kelly Olynyk also, since being traded to the Rockets, is like their best player.
Oh,
I saw a
really
highlight
good.
the other day where he had a steal in transition and then like saved it from the opposing player around the back and just took it to the went coast to coast with it. I was like, whoa.
He's had
I
really
didn't
good
realize
games.
you had that athleticism
Right.
and could put it on the floor like that.
What's really funny though is after I got back from the softball game last night, I watched SportsCenter, and it was the highlights of the Rockets played. I don't know who they played last
Nova
night.
Scotia.
Yeah, the Rockets played. Right, yeah, the Rockets, and all of the highlights against the Rockets was Kelly Olynyk on defense getting burned. I tweeted about it last night. Literally, there were 5 or 6 offensive highlights, and the Rockets were on defense, and all of them Kelly Olynyk was the nearest defender.
So I guess Neil probably wasn't on that.
No, he was not too thrilled about that. So. Yeah, so awesome. Another awesome recruiting class coming here for the Zags. We'll continue to see who else ends up coming through the transfer portal. That'll be the next thing. The other kind of GU news, I already mentioned Tommy Lloyd last week, but Omar Balo did officially transfer to the University of Arizona, followed the guy who recruited him to the United States. It makes sense. It is a nice fit. There is some depth at the big man spot there in Arizona, so he's definitely going to have to show more than he did at GU. In order for him to get some playing time down there. I saw Jason Terry is going to be on the coaching staff at Arizona. Actually, I should say stay on the coaching staff at Arizona. He played at Arizona, right?
Yes.
I think so. So that's obviously big because I don't know how much I mentioned this last week, but there's a lot of former Arizona players who played under Lute Olson who were furious that they didn't hire within the family, which sounds also super creepy. God forbid they pick the best. The best option in the country. That would be a shame. I think Tommy Lloyd will do well there.
Yeah, I don't really want Arizona to do well.
It's really hard. I also don't love Arizona, but I really enjoy Tommy Lloyd. But I think Tommy Lloyd has the persona to make it at Arizona.
Okay.
Tommy Lloyd's kind of, this isn't a great comparison, but he's like bad cop and Mark Few was good cop. Tommy Lloyd yelled a lot and would swear. Like there was an HBO documentary done on the Zags 5 years ago, and he was fiery, and I loved it. You just don't see that kind of thing. There you go.
Wildcats.
Perfect. All right, sticking with basketball here, we got some NBA updates now that our NBA guy is back, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, and I got nothing prepped because I just kind of wanted to shoot the crap with you about the current position that the league finds itself in. It's about a month before the play-in games, which will be the first round of the playoffs in the newly formatted. How do you feel about the play-in games? Do you understand that the 7 and the 8 play each other, and then the 9 and the 10 play each other? I thought it was going to be 7 and 10, and then
like normal
8 and 9. Yeah.
Yeah. God forbid they make anything normal in the NBA.
So it's very weird. How do you feel about it?
Because I don't like it.
I don't like it either, but it has actually done. It's kind of combated tanking.
It has a little bit.
A team like the Kings, in particular in the West,
right?
Who should really at this point in the season, if there were no play-in format, really just given up on their season, but they keep fighting even though they lost like 9 in a row until a couple days ago, because they're still competing for it. And we saw the effects of the play-in tournament at the trade deadline because, again, with the Kings being kind of, just a prime example of a team that should be giving up and trading assets like Harrison Barnes, who was a highly coveted player at the trade deadline, and they ended up keeping him. It's because they're going all in, because for them, making the playoffs is a win for the organization instead of actually, I don't know, kind of retooling or just like scrapping, and re-scrapping and building for a brighter future. But if you make it as the 10 or the 9 seed, you can say, oh, well, we got in the playoffs and, extend your GM and your coaches and all that
fun stuff.
A couple more years. But, okay, so overall, you don't like it.
No, and I don't like the first 4 in the NCAA tournament either. I know why they do it. I know exactly why they do it. It's more money. It's the exact same reason why, and we'll get to this a little bit, that the Champions League in Europe is adding 100 more games to its tournament. It's literally just for money, and that's fine, and I get it. And they can do what they want, so I'm not going to be like, you shouldn't do that. But eventually, like the NFL expanded their playoffs, baseball expanded their like everybody's expanding their playoffs, and eventually, because the United States is, and I'll get to this later too. The United States is the only country in the world that plays playoff formats. No other country has playoffs.
Yeah.
So eventually, it's going to get to this point where where's the incentive? Where's the incentive to win when eventually over half the league is going to be making it into the playoffs? Like, what's the point of that? Like, why even have a postseason if essentially it's just it feels like an extension of the regular season, because they're 1-game playoffs, which is, you could still do that in the regular season against teams that are trying to battle for, in this case, relegation if we talk soccer. I don't know. I get it, and it'll probably be fine over the long run. Like the first 4 in March Madness is fine, but it doesn't even count against your bracket challenge.
No, I know.
Like, they don't even count it as wins or losses in your bracket. So it's like, well, okay, whatever. It's fine.
Overall, I'm not a big advocate of it either. However, I am reserving the majority of judgment because there are it has the potential to breed a lot of intriguing storylines, particularly in the West. And as we look at the Golden State Warriors, could you imagine, especially on the tear that Steph has been on, except for last night, I think he went like 2 of like 14.
He still scored like
from
19 points, but yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, he finally had a down game. But like if the Warriors are red hot and they're being carried solely on the shoulders of Steph, and they're able to win a couple games and actually get into the official postseason, past the play-in, and they get matched up against like Phoenix or Utah, that'd be fun. Like, I'm not going to pick Golden State to win a series, but like to make some noise, just they're one of those teams that you're not going to want to see. It's kind of like Dallas too. Dallas right now is like, I think, the 7th seed, but like
that's a dangerous
if
place.
You're the Clippers or again the Suns, for a first round matchup, you don't want to play. You don't want to play Dallas. You don't want to have Luka dropping 35, 15, and 10.
You don't want to play the Lakers either.
Right.
It's getting on to that point where you're looking at the Lakers like, oh, God, they might be like a pretty bad seed here. And they're gonna have to,
exactly.
So, that part's fair. I mean, that's definitely the argument for it. I know the NBA is going to spin it however they want. It is about money. That's literally all that it is to them.
I know, and the people in the media that almost act as if they're like they have no clue as to why this is happening. I don't know why there are some people that just like fail to acknowledge.
It's actually pretty crazy.
It's just the reality. Yeah, no. Right. And then they have all these hot takes about it. And it's like, okay, yeah, those are fine, but like just understand why this is happening.
Right.
Anyway, East, Brooklyn. A lot of injuries. KD got like a thigh contusion or something like that.
He took a knee to the thigh.
James Harden's had a setback while rehabbing his tight hamstring. So it's basically just Kyrie and
other people.
Nick Claxton out there.
Nick Claxton.
Philly.
Not great.
Philly's still Philly. They did get stuffed the other night hard. Joel is playing out of his mind. Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris were out, though. So, I mean, how much stock can you really put in that? Milwaukee is still there.
Still there. They're just not exciting.
Yeah, they kind of got boned the other night by the refs in the loss to Phoenix on a phantom foul call on a Devin Booker 3, sent him to the line with like 0.2 seconds left. So that's really nice, and I'm glad we had a lot of replays, probably 10 minutes worth, really ramping up the excitement at the end of that game.
Right. Yep.
You looked like you wanted to say something.
I was just going to say McWhippy's pretty upset that he said you left my G Justin on his own.
I did. Justin actually wanted to be on his own.
Yeah, I actually told Andrew, Don't even come in.
Right.
Don't even come in. I
Yeah,
don't
we're
want you here.
just peeling back the curtains behind the
Yeah,
scene here a little bit on the locker room.
just some tension. A
Yeah.
little bit of tension being built up, but that's okay. Yeah, the NBA is at this point, like you said, it's coming down to the final stretch, and it just doesn't feel like it though. Like I just
No,
don't
it really
feel
doesn't.
like it, and I think part of that is because everybody's hurt, or everybody's pretending to be hurt, or everybody's hurt.
Well,
but
and
not
Trae
fully
Young
hurt.
went down last night. Like
Why was he wearing goggles?
injuries
By the
are-
way, did he have an eye thing? Because he had goggles, and it was.
He must have had an eye thing.
I
I actually kind of think the goggles look fitting on him. I don't.
'cause he's
generally,
kind of
yes,
ugly.
he's not.
it
cute.
hides his ugly face and his ugly hair.
I used to kind of like hate watch his Snapchat stories because he was like one of
Hate
those certified
watch?
guys, and I mean, just like a lot of the younger players like in professional sports leagues, he's driving, he's got his phone in his lap, and he's just
Right.
kind of loosely lip syncing to whatever hip hop or R&B is on in his car, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get mad about this, but I'm gonna keep watching. So
I get that.
So that's mostly the NBA. The Celtics were on like a 6-game winning streak, and then they lost to the Chicago Bulls when they were down one Marcus Smart and one Kemba Walker.
That'll happen.
They're not good. They didn't fix anything.
They should be so much better.
They should be so much better.
They're probably the most.
If they get
interesting
Fournier
team.
back and he's actually able to, come off the bench and hit 3 to 4 threes a game, I think that they're going to be okay. But they have no edge. They have no backbone. It's fine. I'm glad that they moved out the standings a little bit. The Knicks, man, hottest team in the NBA right now.
Nate McMillan's the coach right now, isn't he?
Tom Thibodeau.
For the Knicks, right? No,
It's basically the white.
Right.
Nate
Who did?
McMillan,
Right.
The
Who
Hawks.
did-
He took over for
right.
Lloyd Pierce.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. No, the Knicks.
the Hawks.
What's crazy? What's absolutely crazy is Julius Randle is playing out of his freaking mind.
He's got to be the most improved player.
He made 6 out of 8 from 3.
Yeah.
He hasn't done that his entire basketball. I know he didn't do that in high school. I know he didn't do that any other point. I
And
don't know where
watching
this
his
came
form
from.
too, it's like that's not going to go in, and it keeps going in.
It's
This
ugly.
year,
It's not great.
he's shooting like 40%.
He has a lot of
from three.
confidence
It's been
right now.
really impressive. No, he's putting up stats on that team. And
Yeah.
Derrick Rose. I mean, of
I do
course,
like to
Tibbs
see it.
got his guy.
Right. Yeah. Right. It is
Yeah,
nice to see
shocker.
Derrick Rose. He's not nearly
Such a
as
nice
good as
guy.
he was, but he
Such a nice guy.
Such a nice guy.
He's contributing.
He is
contributing.
He is a contributing member of a Knicks team that's turning a little bit a few heads. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of
The NBA.
Basically, this week has just been a lot of injuries.
Pretty much, and
yeah.
people coming back and then getting hurt and then not coming back and then coming back and then disappearing and. I
Right,
don't
so
know.
everybody's pretty much over it. It's just at the point in the season, like I said, it's beyond the dog days of the NBA season. It's just like, okay, let's get to the playoffs,
Right.
in which there are going to be a lot of interesting matchups, particularly per usual in the West.
Mm-hmm.
And the Nuggets, Jokic is still carrying that team, especially considering that Jamal Murray is out for the rest of the season,
That
most of next
sucks.
season too with the ACL tear.
Yep.
Jokic, MVP right now.
Jokic, probably, yeah. McWhippy wants to know how you're doing, how we're doing, but you're good? You thriving?
I'm pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say it's a Thursday thrive right now.
Right. No, it is. I'm just sore from the game last night. Literally, I knew it too. When I got done. Well, actually, right when I got done with the game, I'm like, oh, I feel pretty good. And then I got in my truck, and then I got out of my truck, and that's when I'm like, I'm gonna feel it.
See, okay, so not adult softball, but a similar sentiment after indoor soccer games in the winter.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I can see that.
yes.
Yeah,
Tight
I
hammies.
can't do this every single day like
Right.
I used to. Other than that, good.
Yeah, very good.
You know Juan?
Huh?
No Juan?
I'm aware. Oh, yeah, I do. What's up? What's up, Juan?
Yeah, just Andrew.
No, you can't hang out with us after class, Juan.
Yes. All right. A couple NFL updates. Actually, not much going on in the NFL right now outside of Deshaun Watson continuing to defend his entire career. Not going well for him. But more interesting stuff. Alex Smith officially retired yesterday. Had 2020 NFL Comeback Player of the Year after a brutal leg injury that happened a few seasons ago. And he was actually really funny. I'm gonna tell a little bit of a story here. So right after he broke his leg, Ryan Fitzmagic, the Harvard grad, texted Alex Smith saying that, "Hey Alex, I just want." Fitzpatrick broke his tibia in 2014.
Yep.
And so he texted, "Hey Alex, just want to let you know that they'll fix you right up. You'll be good as new. I'm out here and I don't feel any pain from my injury 3 years later." And a broken tibia, where it's just a broken tibia, is really not a big deal. Unfortunately for Alex Smith, it was a huge deal for his leg injury. And then Alex Smith responded with, well, mine might be a little bit more complicated. And then 17 surgeries later, and then now Ryan Fitzpatrick feels terrible about that text.
Did you know he went to Harvard?
I did. Big Harvard guy.
Okay.
I just to give you an idea, if you've never seen what his leg looked like after his ferocious broken leg, the same field where Joe Namath's career was ended by Lawrence Taylor.
It was the same date too.
Yeah, same date. There was a lot of weird
There were a lot of weird
similarities.
parallels. Yeah.
And Alex Smith was wrecked. His leg it was a spiral fracture, compound spiral fracture. I mean, just literally everything that could go wrong with your leg went wrong to the point where it probably should have been cut off had the doctors not done everything perfect. So a little bit of a warning here. We're going to show you these photos. They are graphic as graphic can be. They don't even look like a leg. So be aware. This is what happened to Alex Smith's leg a few seasons ago. Not great. So that's during some rehab, obviously. Look, probably the orthopedic surgeon would be my guess. And this, do you have the other picture of his leg? Oh. Okay, the other one's on that website. I think a little bit more toward the bottom in like a little gallery where it literally it says warning. So Alex Smith is retiring. He was a little upset that he wasn't going to be handed the starting job this season. Probably the right time for him to go.
Well, I'm pretty sure he came out and publicly stated something to the effect of the Washington football team, like, let him know, like, hey, you're not our guy.
Right.
We're not, yeah.
Right.
So they're pretty over it.
He was a former first-round draft pick by the San Francisco 49ers.
Number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, he actually had a decent career with San Francisco. Never really got off the ground there. Wasn't really given an opportunity.
It was crazy to see the transformation once Jim Harbaugh got there,
Right.
and just like to finally see Alex Smith, because it was kind of like a wounded puppy, like his first years with who was the former Bears linebacker that was the coach there that couldn't play with
Singletary.
Thank you, Mike Singletary. Yeah, those were some dark days. But
those were not.
No,
good
he
days,
he ended up having a very impressive career, and I remember it was like 2017 or 18 with the Chiefs, and they got off to that like 5-0 start like they always do. And he was like in MVP talks for like half the season.
That was the year they drafted Mahomes.
Yeah, exactly,
and,
because they lit a little fire under his booty.
Right,
Yeah.
and not that he's the reason for it, but he can say he's the reason why Patrick Mahomes is so good. Like I was his mentor, right?
Yeah.
Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes, same guy.
Yeah.
Perfect. Here's this photo. This one's even worse. So please be aware that if you do not wish to see a disgusting leg or whatever is left of it, don't look. But here it is. So that's an infected leg, and that's what happens when you get surgery done, your leg gets infected, and they almost have to cut it off. So that's all that dead flesh.
That's your brain when you do drugs.
Marijuana.
Yes.
Do you follow Barry McCockiner on Twitter? Have I asked you this?
I don't know. I don't follow the
him.
account.
Super funny.
I see things retweeted.
Super funny. I love Barry McCockiner.
She's
super good guy.
Yeah.
Blind
Smith.
Also, Blindside 1234 that wants to know if this is live. Yes, it is live. Hello, Blindside 1234.
Also streaming in 4K.
Also streaming in 4K. All right, so Alex Smith retired, comeback player of the year last year, went out on top. Other NFL news comes out of Seattle. Actually, specifically comes out of Louisiana. Seahawks defensive end Aldon Smith, who they just signed last week. 2 days later, after he signed a one-year deal worth $1.1 million with $137,000 guaranteed. He ended up choking out a guy and left him unconscious during a confrontation that began inside of a coffee shop in Chalmette. That sounds French.
Sure.
Louisiana.
Chalmette.
Last thing that I saw about it is I think this was someone in his family's husband that he choked out. I want to say that he said something bad about his wife, who was a family member of Aldon Smith, and Aldon Smith said, "Nah, bro," and choked him out to unconscious.
The only two things keeping Aldon Smith from sacking Russell Wilson are, one, playing on the same team together, which we're probably never going to see, and two, the bars of prison. So
I think so. It was only second-degree battery. Knowing the NFL, he'll be back in 4 games. he'll be here for the last 13 games of the year.
To be on my couch on Sundays
and
just
watching
rooting for this guy.
Rooting for Aldon Smith to choke out any opposing passing attack.
I'm down for it. The Brandon Browner of defensive ends.
You got to believe it. So yeah, that's our NFL. We're gonna move to the European football here. The Sounders. This is, I guess, the United States football. Whatever. Sounders won 4-0. I have a little video here of front runner for goal of the season. It is only 1 week in, but this one should hold the podium for a while. Sounders won 4-0 against Minnesota United, the Loons, expansion team from a couple years ago, and got off to a hot start. And here's a couple highlights. We'll kind of watch them here.
Alex rolled on in for Rui Diaz now. He's got a couple different options.
Right after the...
It's Atencio in there. Atencio weaving through. Christian rolled on. Got it away for Alex. Rolled on. His cross.
Headed clear.
Instead of the middle by Trap. Holding his far. Joe Apollo!
Absolute cannon of a volley.
Kick off the
And
season
what's
for
really impressive about
Seattle.
this is it's not just a volley as much as he actually receives this clearance and then volleys his own setup. He settles the ball and then gets pumped, buddy, for some reason. I don't know why. So Apollo with the early front runner for goal of the season. Seattle ended up going on to win that game 4-0, punctuated by a Freddie Montero goal, who scored the first goal in the Sounders MLS history.
Oh.
9 years ago in 2012.
Wow.
So that was really cool, a really cool moment for him. And, yeah, pretty excited to be a Sounders fan. It was really interesting. They have ran under Brian Schmetzer consistently a 4-2-1 1. 4-2-1. Nope, 4-2-3-1. 4-2-3-1. Final answer, 4-2-3-1 under Brian Schmetzer since he's been here. They actually ran a 5-3-2-1. 5-3. No. Anyway, they have five at the back,
Big
two wing backs,
formation guy.
two wing backs. God, it is tough. It is tough to keep track of that. But they ended up working out all right. They won 4-0. Now into the international soccer news. There was the whole European Soccer League that was founded on Sunday. 12 founding members of the European Soccer League, essentially the top 12 teams from the entire world, actually in European soccer, I should say, which are the best teams in the world.
Yep.
And they all came together to create the Super League. It included 6 teams from the Premier League. Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Tottenham were all involved. It also included some of the other European top teams, AC Milan, Arsenal. I don't know why that they put Arsenal again. Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Inter Milan, Juventus, Real Madrid were the founding clubs with room for 5 more, including Paris Saint-Germain and the 2 Bundesliga teams, Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich. Essentially, they wanted more money for themselves. They didn't really love the whole structure of the current European Championships, which is the Champions League, which is Man City is in the semifinals. They play next week in the first leg of the semifinals against Paris Saint-Germain. They didn't like that format. They didn't like having to give the revenue that they were creating to smaller clubs that weren't even in the tournament anymore. Unfortunately, the way that European soccer is set up is it's literally a pyramid. You know, you have the guys at the top who are then, you know, funneling money down to the bottom teams. That's why relegation is a thing. Essentially, this league would have destroyed what European soccer has done for 200 years. And fans came out, players came out, managers came out, pretty much everybody except for the owners of the clubs. What's really interesting is some of the guys behind this whole movement was 3 English owners who are actually American.
I was gonna say the Americans got their hands on soccer
They
and
did.
yeah,
And
they
tried to Americanize European soccer, and the Europeans were like, no, not a chance. No taxation without representation, Americans. So they were not too happy. The fans stood up and said, nope, not going to happen. And it did not happen.
Yeah, you would have thought like this was like a international, like the Rapture was happening or something.
God.
It was an international crisis.
probably-
I didn't realize like the scope because I got on Twitter like Sunday night and I saw jokes, of course, like mostly coming and stemming from Barstool about the Super League. And I was like, what is happening?
Yep.
And I think that's kind of what most Americans that weren't super enthusiastic about soccer or plugged in on the international scope, knew about what was happening. And then when I heard and learned kind of what was taking place and what was being
planned.
Yeah.
Kind of done, kind of.
I was like,
yeah.
And then learning about like the Cronkies and like, you know, all the guys that.
The Fenway ownership group. I mean,
LeBron.
it's really weird.
Basically.
Right? Yeah, right.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, we got our hands on soccer, and we did the only thing that we know how to do.
The craziest, is make money, and I mean, it would have made really good money for these teams. Unfortunately, like I said, it was really going to hurt the European soccer structure. The difference between the Europeans, you know, in American professional sports, you have the NFL, and below the NFL, there's college, and they try to start semi-pro teams that never work out. And so the Europeans, for instance, in the Premier League, which is England's highest league, you have underneath them the Champions League, which is really kind of confusing, and then you have like 4 other leagues below them that are all trying to battle for promotion into the league above, and if you're not very good, you enter the relegation zone, you drop into the league below you. Like, it's a pretty cool structure, actually. I do appreciate what they're doing over there. So the chairman of the ESL, the European Super League, was actually the president of Real Madrid. He came out and pretty much was like, I don't even know why people were freaking out so much. Like, this is people thought we were killing football. And they kind of were. Like, they came out, they had no PR scheme, they had no structure, they had no idea how people were going to respond, which is crazy to me that they didn't have a pulse on this. Luckily, my team, Manchester City, was the first team to actually officially pull out. So I do appreciate that. Like, that was really nice to see, because I was like, okay, they're the real OGs.
Well, you got to know you're doing something wrong if you can situate yourself in a position that makes FIFA and UEFA come out looking like, by default, the good guys in any sort of scenario. So that's quite the feat. And, I mean, in essence, that's kind of all you need to know.
Right, and they're never the good guys. No. So that is very much the important thing to know. The chairman, Florentino Perez, essentially folded under pressure. He wasn't able to take over European soccer like he wanted to. He's just softer than a moist towelette. He literally is. He came out and he was trying to defend himself. He was trying to defend this league, and nobody was buying it. He was literally the only face of the European Soccer League, when in fact there were 11 other presidents of these clubs that should have been out, like, standing next to him arm in arm saying, let's do this. Nobody else wanted to put their name on this.
What a life cycle.
It was crazy. What didn't even last 48 hours.
I know.
Like, they came out and people lost their minds saying this is going to be the end of soccer as we know it. And then 48 hours later, there's technically 4 teams, but really 2. There's the 2 Spanish teams. You're seeing the other teams all backing out outside of Barcelona and Real Madrid. So that's pretty funny. I'm here for it now because this is they try to kind of do this all the time, but this was the first time that they really went for it, and it backfired horribly wrong for them. But it's super funny now looking back.
Yeah.
All right, what's your jabroni?
Oh.
Already there.
It's a good question. I think I forgot it already. Oh.
Nice.
Okay, so they're studio host. They're not ESPYs. They're not
We're
Emmys.
the studio hosts.
Oh, yeah, right. Sports Emmys. That's right. Thank you, Sam. So this list are the finalists for the Sports Emmys, the best studio host. And if you're looking at it here, so Rachel Nichols, this is where I saw the tweet, because she was in there among the group that includes Scott Van Pelt. I can't even see the screen right now. Ernie Johnson from Inside the NBA. Rachel Nichols is there. Rich Eisen, the Rich Eisen podcast or whatever. Anyway,
Mike Tirico.
Mike Tirico,
yeah,
which America's heartthrob. I love Mike Tirico.
I do like Mike Tirico.
I just kind of thought that amongst all of these different names, and I don't dislike Rachel Nichols. I think she's fine.
Say it. What you're saying, everybody thinks.
I don't know what everybody thinks. I don't know.
Just say it.
She's out of all of these, she seems to garner attention because of political and social takes and dialogues that always impede her show of The Jump.
Her show sucks. Yeah. The Jump is garbage. Let's be real.
Or
here.
not Chet, but Jalen Suggs came out and declared his. Yeah,
I guess.
Anyway,
that show's garbage.
Looking at the names, I just kind of thought that she stuck out like a sore thumb. If you look at all the other candidates, as far as they're all, I don't know. I don't want to say anything too negatively because, like, she's not the worst thing in the world.
The worst. No,
however,
she's not. But she's not top 5 studio host in
not
sports.
Even close.
No, she's not. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, that's literally just how it goes. I'd put. It's really unfortunate because Carissa Thompson isn't doing hosting anymore, and
she's great.
And Carissa Thompson's really, really good. Mm-hmm. The other person, she was just Coward's right-hand lady.
Not the current one.
Not Joy Taylor. God, no. Joy Taylor is also trash.
You're talking about Beetle?
No, Michelle Beadle was also good on Sports Nation. I really like.
She was good
Michelle
on that
Beadle
show, and then she
Nation.
absolutely derailed her career.
Kristen Leahy was
yes,
also very, very good. She wasn't a host, but she was also very good on good shows too. Like that.
Yeah.
That's the big qualifier here. Is that quantifier here? The Jump is just not a good show. Like, you can't be considered to be one of the top hosts for a show that sucks. The only reason why they get so many viewers is because it's the only show that's on ESPN at that time. Everything else are replays.
The thing that I don't respect about the show is because every other show that is tied to a professional sports league, like an NFL Live or Baseball Tonight or something like that, they're all critical of the sport and of the league at hand that they are discussing. The jump and basically any sort of media coverage is not objective about the current state of the NBA. And there are a lot of problems. I just listened to a podcast that kind of detailed like the horrendous drop-off in viewership over the last couple of years. And it's never stated. And they had so many problems with the coronavirus this year, and nobody ever really took a step back. And, you know, in the NFL, of course, in the MLB, when they were playing over the summer, just absolutely got dragged through the mud for all their lapses in protocol. And it's like the NBA season started, and it was like, everybody or every team at least had a player or two. Anyway, so the big thing that I just can't get behind is the fact that they don't objectively critique. You can still love your country, you can still love your sports teams, leagues, whatever, and critique and want them to do better. And they never do that. They always just, you know, turn a blind eye and act as if everything's all hunky-dory. And it's like, okay, if you peel the curtain back a little bit, that's not exactly the case. But anyway, yes, I digress.
Do you know who I also very much like? Is Hannah Storm on ESPN.
Hannah Storm's great. Yeah.
I also like Sage Steele.
Yeah.
On SportsCenter as well. Right. Oh, for sure, the OGs.
Linda Cohn.
Yep. I mean, there's Alex Curry even, who steps in for Joy Taylor. She's also a Fox Sports lady. I really like her too. Like she's way better than Joy Taylor. Joy Taylor. Did you see? I don't know if did you see my tweet?
I said, yeah.
Oh my God, she called. So we've been talking Chet Holmgren earlier in the show. So she's and let's get this straight. She's reading this off of a teleprompter, right? And they put names on teleprompters phonetically. Like they make it as easy as possible for you to pronounce names right. And she called Chet Holmgren a very easy name to pronounce. She said, so earlier today, Chet Holmgren. Like, what does she do? And then Gonzaga.
Yeah.
And then every single time she says Gonzaga, I cringe. I know for a fact that Colin Cowherd's just cringing, and he needs to say something. I don't know when he needs to say it, but he needs to say it now. Yeah, definitely. Rachel Nichols does not belong there. Nothing against her, because I love her sideline reporting. I really liked her on the sideline.
She
gave great analysis. She's not a good host of this show. She could be a good host of another show, but that show's just really bad. All right, my jabroni here is Tony Bennett, head coach of the University of Virginia. Former WSU head coach. Yep, there you go. And here's a little bit of so Adam Morrison just started a podcast, The Perimeter or something like that.
Shout out.
And he talked to Corey Kispert for his inaugural show. And this is what Corey Kispert said about Tony Bennett and some of the things that he said about Corey Kispert.
Before we went out, like, I told the team, like, listen, like, I love, like, I mean, I'm not nothing against Coach Bennett, but he told me I wasn't good enough to play.
Oh, there you go.
You know, so I'm like, let's go kick their ass.
Yeah.
And, you know, from the moment I hit my first one, I was like, okay, he's in trouble.
Felt good.
Yeah, I just really felt good.
So not a great thing to tell somebody. Now, there's a couple things you can take from this. Does that mean he said you're not good enough to play here? You're not good enough to play in the NBA? You're not good I mean, wherever he said, the player's going to take that as poorly as possible in order to, you know, put that chip on your shoulder. Corey Kispert ended up dropping a career high. I think he had 9 3-pointers, 7 3-pointers, 8 3-pointers, and GU dominated Virginia in that game. So my jabroni is Tony Bennett, who, you know, a lot of WSU people are still salty about the fact that he left. WSU has not been good since he was there, and that was a long time ago.
No.
But they did have, I think they were over 500, though, this year for the first time.
Yeah, I think they were. They had that one player with the name.
Yes.
That scored points.
Kim Aiken, transfer from Eastern Washington, did transfer to Arizona before Tommy Lloyd. He was kind of the first big guy to not stay at Arizona.
Yes.
He ended up transferring to Washington State. So a little bit of WSU news for you on the show as well. All right, sports fact of the day.
Yeah, give it to me.
Mickey Mantle was originally – so Mickey Mantle, an NFL, MLB Hall of Famer, one of the best outfielders of all time, played on some of the best Yankees teams of all time, was originally a shortstop, but after making 102 – let me say that again, 102 errors in 2 seasons in the minors, they moved him to the outfield. So that means he averaged 51 errors, and this is minor league baseball, and this is minor league baseball in the 50s. There's no way those seasons are that long. So that means he made a lot of errors in a short amount of time, which means these errors per game had to be over 1.
Apparently, he could run the bases in like 13 seconds, and I don't know if you've ever clocked that out before, but that's like
fast.
insane.
That's fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all. I mean, there's all sorts of crazy stats. So he was a switch hitter. I'm going to just spend a couple seconds here. One thing that's really funny, he went 0 for 22 for the Yankees minor league team. That's after he was sent down from the Yankees. He called his dad saying he didn't want to play anymore. His dad showed up, started packing his bag, saying, "You're going home. You're going to work in the mines. That's what we'll do. You can work back down there." Mantle ended up not leaving and ended up becoming one of the best players of all time. Yeah. He's a switch hitter. He has a 421 on. These are all, by the way, all highest for any switch hitter in professional baseball. 421 on base percentage, 557 slugging percentage. Where are the other ones here? He had the most home runs as a switch hitter. He had 54 home runs in 1961, the most in the season by a switch hitter. He's walked 146 times in 1957. He's literally probably the best switch hitter of all time. In the Hall of Fame, has a plaque in Yankee Stadium. Mickey Mantle, stud, also bad infielder. Don't be Mickey Mantle in the infield.
Yeah.
The other thing that he said that was a really interesting stat. This is what Mickey Mantle said. He said, "During my 18 years, I came to bat almost 10,000 times. I struck out about 1,700 times and walked about 1,800 times. You figure a ball player will average about 500 at-bats a season. That means that he played 7 years without ever hitting a ball," which is kind of crazy to think about. All right, that's my sports fact. What's your closing time, real quick?
Closing time, actually, it's just kind of a little video that I wanted to play.
Yep.
Just kind of
sentimental,
take us back to the glory days. But highlighting Bobby Wagner's rookie campaign.
He has room to run if he can get loose. But what a play to keep him from getting a first down. Bobby Wagner, the rookie linebacker. Flash into your screen. Comes under pressure. He's able to get away from the offensive tackle, and then look at him close the gap on Cam Newton.
Under 14 yards for Ridley. He'll get another one here. Spin move doesn't work. Bobby Wagner, the rookie, was all over it. Fast and physical inside linebacker.
Skelton's throw to Fitzgerald. Battled for and knocked away.
I miss this team. I miss the defense. I miss the swarming. I miss the ball hawking. I miss the LOB. But, like, I remember in 2014, he missed like a significant amount of time, and they had early struggles that season, and the defense was not the same. And it's just like, okay, he's the linchpin. I mean, he is that defense. Obviously, he still is today. They don't have the names, surrounding him. They don't have the secondary. They don't have the guys on the defensive line. But he is just.
There's a reason he's still there and nobody else is.
You try to tell me that Luke Kuechly was the better linebacker.
I laugh in your face until you stop watching football.
You stop watching sports. Just disavow yourself from any sort of television that has sports on it. No, he's the best. I miss him. I love him. I just saw it coming up the other day on Twitter, and I was like, man, I miss that era.
Right.
But we still got him. Bless up, Bobby Wagner, one of the greatest linebackers, middle linebackers to,
Yep.
ever do it.
Wait, so this just came up on Twitter or something?
Yeah, it was just like I don't know what it was.
Recognition post or something?
Yeah, pretty much.
Perfect. All right, my closing time. Did I send you a video? Okay, good, because I don't want to play it. So we're going to go back to some European soccer here. FC Schalke, I think is technically the pronunciation. They were relegated. Like I said, don't want to be relegated. You lose money, you drop to a lower division. They were relegated for the first time in 33 seasons yesterday after losing 1-0 to Arminia. Not Armenia, Arminia. Okay. So somewhere in the Bundesliga, somewhere in Germany is a team called Arminia. After the game, fans, so they were on the road. They had to leave the stadium, get on their team bus. Unfortunately, there were some very unhappy fans of Schalke waiting for them. So after the game, they left the stadium and were chased to their buses by Schalke fans who were not happy that their team was relegated to a lower division. They were driving away. Fans were chasing after their bus, throwing eggs at their bus, and probably kumquats, if I had to guess, and just completely made them feel terrible. Poor Schalke, that's unfortunate. Borussia Dortmund, their rival from a different German province, town. I don't know how they neighborhood. I don't know how they do it over there. Anyway, they began to set off fireworks all throughout their town because they were so thrilled that Schalke got relegated. So just pretty funny. It really shows you the difference between American sports.
I was going to say, don't ever get it twisted. What the most popular sport in the world is.
And rivalries in the United
how
States aren't
seriously
touched
fans take it.
international.
No, not
aren't
even-
touched
no.
on an international level, which says a lot because there's some killer rivalries in this country. Not even close.
No.
Not even
Nope.
close.
Nope.
So don't get relegated, or your fans are going to throw eggs at you.
Yeah.
And maybe kumquats.
That is the moral of this episode.
I used
think.
kumquats 3 times now.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, Eric will be happy. All right. Perfect. We're only 2 minutes late. Not too bad. Can't get in
right.
too much trouble. What's
We'll do it
next?
again next
What's
week.
coming up next? Is it live? Or are you just recording?
Wait, can you guys shoot it in 4K?
So it is live? Oh, okay. That's fine. There is a show coming up after us. What is it again? Okay. I don't know if you heard
Go
that.
check it out.
But check it out when they do either post it live or post it after they record it. This was The Locker Room on Thursday, April 22nd. We will see you next week. NFL Draft happens
Draft
on
week
Thursday.
next
Draft
week,
week
yep.
next week. Not that it matters. Seahawks have 3 picks, lowest in the league by 3. But we'll be here to talk about our mock drafts, I am sure. Next Thursday, 10 a.m., same place on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you get our show. We will be there.
Whippy,
MC
enjoy
Whippy will be there.
Wolfenstein.
Enjoy Wolfenstein. Have
see you
a
next
great
week, dog.
week. We will see you all next week.
Thanks for watching The Locker Room on Spokane Talks. Check us out on Facebook as well as our other platforms. We want to hear from you. Join the conversation by emailing us at info@SpokaneTalksOnline.com. And for more sports news, opinions, and content, follow Justin and me on Twitter.